Most people think revenge has to be loud, that it needs shouting, public humiliation, or some elaborate plan. But sometimes, the most satisfying revenge is doing slightly less than you could have. One rude customer made a simple mistake. I tried to help him. Instead, he treated me like I was beneath him, so I smiled and let his own attitude become his punishment. If you've ever dealt with someone who acted entitled after making their own mistake, you're going to love today's story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around until the end because this is one of those revenge stories where almost nothing illegal, unethical, or dramatic happens, yet the ending is unbelievably satisfying. Working in logistics teaches you something most people never realize. No matter how organized a company is, people make mistakes. Every single day. Packages go to the wrong warehouse. Labels get swapped. Returns get mixed together. Boxes show up addressed to neighboring businesses. It's just part of the job. Our warehouse mostly sells clothing, shirts, jackets, workwear, that sort of thing. So whenever a random package arrives, we don't immediately assume it's ours. We check. Sometimes it's meant for the business next door. Sometimes it's a courier error. Sometimes it's a customer sending back the wrong item. Normally, fixing those mistakes isn't a big deal. In fact, we usually go out of our way to help, because being kind costs almost nothing. Our warehouse ships hundreds of parcels every week. That means we get excellent freight rates. Sending one small package to the correct address barely costs us anything. If someone accidentally sends their return to us instead of another company, we'll often relabel it ourselves, drop it onto the outgoing pallet, and save that customer an enormous headache. Not because we have to, because it's simply the decent thing to do. Most customers are incredibly grateful. They'll apologize over and over. "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that. Thank you so much for helping." Those calls usually end with both sides smiling. Then, there was this guy. Started like any other morning. One of the warehouse staff walked over carrying a return parcel. "Hey, I don't think this belongs to us." I opened the box. Inside, pair of expensive running shoes. Immediately I knew something was wrong. We don't sell shoes. Not one single pair. Wrong company. Wrong warehouse. Wrong return address. Someone had clearly mixed up their parcels. I looked through the paperwork until I found the customer's phone number. Easy enough. To call him. Explain what happened. We'd sort it out in 5 minutes. Simple. The phone rang twice. He answered. Before I could even finish introducing myself, his tone made my shoulders tense. Yeah, not exactly friendly. Still, I stayed polite. "Hi there. I'm calling from the warehouse where you've accidentally sent one of your returns." Silence. Then, "What do you mean accidentally? I believe you've mixed up 2 return labels. The item you've sent us isn't something we sell." Another pause. Then came the sigh. The kind people make when they think they're speaking to someone beneath them. "Well, so fix it." I blinked. "Sorry." "Ship it where it's supposed to go," as though he'd just instructed an employee. "No apology. No embarrassment. No appreciation." "Nothing," I explained calmly. "We can certainly hold on to it for you, but because the mistake happened before it reached us, we'll need you to either organize a courier or collect it yourself." His voice immediately sharpened. "That's ridiculous." "No. It's your problem now." I actually looked at the phone for a second to make sure I'd heard correctly. My problem? He'd printed the wrong label, packed the wrong box, sent it to the wrong warehouse.
And somehow, I was responsible. I tried once more. I understand it's frustrating, but unfortunately we can't pay to forward someone else's parcel. His laugh was dripping with arrogance. "So, you're telling me your company can't afford to post one little package?" That sentence did it. Not because of the money, because of the attitude. Here's the funny part. If he'd simply said, "Sorry, mate, that's my fault," that parcel would have already been sitting on our afternoon pickup truck. He would have received his refund faster. The correct retailer would have gotten their shoes. Everyone would have won. Instead, he decided insulting the person trying to help him was somehow the smarter option. So, I stopped offering favors. Professional? Absolutely. Helpful? Only to the extent required. Nothing more. Nothing less. He eventually realized I wasn't backing down. With an irritated sigh, he asked, Phoenix, when are you open until? Now, here's where the story changes. We actually close at 5. But reception gets quiet after 4. So without missing a beat, I answered, we close at 4. Complete confidence. No hositashin. No guilt. Just, we close at 4. There was a long silence. Then I heard him mutter something under his breath, probably calculating the drive. Based on the address on his paperwork, he lived on the complete opposite side of the city. Traffic at that hour? Terrible. An hour's drive. Maybe longer. He finally snapped. I'll be there. Click. The call ended. I placed the receiver down. My coworker looked over. Everything sorted? I smiled. Oh yeah. He'll come pick it up. That was technically true. The warehouse carried on as normal. Forklifts buzzed across the concrete floor. Tape guns clicked. Printers spat out shipping labels. Boxes stacked higher and higher. Every now and then, I glanced toward the front entrance, wondering if he'd make it.
Around 3:45, nothing. 3:55, still nothing. Then, just after 4, the front doors burst open. A man hurried inside looking exhausted. Hair messy, face red, breathing heavily. He'd clearly rushed. The receptionist looked up. Can I help you? I'm here. For my package. She checked the paperwork. Oh yes. One moment. She called through to the warehouse. I carried the box out myself. His eyes narrowed the moment he recognized my voice. You. Yep. I placed the parcel gently on the counter. He glanced toward the wall clock. I made it. I smiled. You certainly did. There was an awkward silence. He waited, almost expecting me to say something. Apologize, perhaps. Instead, I simply stood there, completely calm, professional. The receptionist casually asked, Heading home after this? I nodded. Eventually. We're here until 5. I noticed it immediately. The customer's eyes darted to the clock, then back to me, then toward the receptionist. 5. Not 4. Just 5. His face froze. He'd heard it too. For a split second, I could actually see the realization wash over him. He hadn't needed to drive like a maniac across town. He hadn't needed to panic through traffic. He hadn't needed to stress at all. If he'd shown even the tiniest bit of kindness, I would have shipped the parcel for him completely free. Instead, his own attitude had earned him a miserable crosstown drive, unnecessary panic, and the inconvenience of collecting the package himself. He looked like he wanted to argue, to accuse me, but how could he? The package was safe, untouched, ready exactly as promised. I hadn't damaged it. I hadn't hidden it. I hadn't refused to return it. I'd simply stopped doing favors. He quietly picked up the box, turned around, and walked out without another word. The automatic doors closed behind him. The warehouse fell silent again. Make sure to like the video and subscribe for more unbelievable Reddit revenge stories every week. And tell us in the comments, if you were in my position, would you have shipped the package anyway? Or would you have done exactly the same thing? We'll see you in the next story.